How do you know you can still hear me? You can see it.
I can see the signal.
The little snakes.
I've got a ghost. What tells me what's going on?
Me too. Ghosty times.
The ghost there and a gremlin there.
I'll take it.
No offence. It was meant as a compliment. You know, gremlins.
How can that be a compliment?
Have you seen Gremlins, the film?
Small, kind of cute, like
Have you seen
little
Gremlins, the
bows.
film?
No.
From the 80s?
No.
You should see Gremlins.
All right.
Really good.
Is this going to make me feel better about...
No. Well, the
Okay.
thing is, if I say you're a... What are they called? Gizmo. What's Gizmo?
That's it. Keep digging.
Gizmo. They start off cute, and then if you feed them after midnight, they turn into gremlins.
Oh! Usually it's the other way around for me. If I'm hungry and I'm not fed, that's when I turn it. But that's the case with a lot of people, in it.
Yeah.
There's nothing different about that.
Yeah.
Are we recording? I assume maybe
yeah,
we were.
we're recording, yeah. So this will
great.
make some really good intro.
All right, well, this is a weird one, isn't it, Matt?
It's a bit.
Well, it's weird for two ways, I'd say. Firstly, we're in the new recording studio of KUPOD Productions, which is looking very swish, I will say.
Thank you.
Very swish indeed. And secondly, well, maybe there's three, because we're not with Rachel, and I feel like we haven't done a three-one. I nearly said a three-way.
I feel like we haven't done a three-way yet. And
ages,
it's been bothering me, to be honest with you. I feel like we should just get it out of the way, to be honest.
All right, so that's another reason why it's totally weird.
Yeah.
And then thirdly, well, we're interviewing you, Matt.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
So how do you feel about that?
I feel like we couldn't get hold of any other guests.
No,
and I pointed out that
that's not fucking true.
No, it is true. And I was like, don't forget we can interview each other as well.
That is true.
You put me forward as the first one.
I said, I want to interview you.
Yeah.
No, I'm super curious, so I'm buzzing about this, to be honest, Matt.
So that's why we're interviewing me.
Welcome to
Our Art Podcast. Yay.
You all right, Matt?
All right, Luca.
Yeah. So Matt, I have so many questions. I'm going to actually start with a question related to last Saturday.
Yes.
Where did you learn to sing like that?
I didn't.
You're born and you had a voice like that. This is actually coming from Rachel. She said, ask him how he has a voice like that.
Well, so last Saturday was the open gallery for listeners, and I formed a supergroup with a friend of mine called Bradley, who is the guitarist.
Lovely guy, by the way.
He's a great lad, Brad, and he does he's a marketing apprentice at Billingtons, and I've done some work with Billingtons, including a podcast called The Backdrop, which if you want to listen to it, listen to it. But he's a young musician. He's 20. He was only 18 when he first started at Billingtons. And he plays the bass in a band called Bowman, who are an original rock outfit. Playing at Whittles in Oldham, actually, on the 27th of September. So I'm going to go along to that, because I've still not seen them live yet, which is bugging me a little bit. Because I'm of that age, this is going to take forever to get to the actual answer of the question, isn't it?
All right.
But I'm at that age now where they were playing at the
so.
Deaf Institute on a Friday night, and it's like, I'm definitely going, Brad. I'm definitely going to come. That sounds amazing. By the time Friday night got round, I was too tired.
Knackered, mate. Fuck that.
I haven't got time for a nap.
Oh,
I haven't got time for a nap. How am I going to go out afterwards? I'm not going to be able to keep myself going. So I never got round to singing. So that's really annoying. But this is on a Friday too, but I'm going to factor a nap in, and it's in Oldham, which is nearer.
That's way easier.
So I'm going to go that anyway. So he's in that band, but he's also in a covers band called The Rays, and I've seen them perform, and they play a lot of the similar kind of tunes that we play. They play lots of Oasis and bits and bobs and stuff. So when my guitarist Matt couldn't, because I'm in a band called Spike Tyler, we're in a duo. I'll tell you more about that later.
Very cool.
But I'll tell you more about that. But he couldn't play on the 7th because it was his birthday. So
you basically
yeah. So I had to and I'd promised you that I would do something in the evening.
You
promised. I was like, it was either get somebody else in to do something like that with Brad, or do something like an avant-garde performance. Make it up as I go along and call it art, but really just mess about. thankfully, I asked Brad and he was available. And me and Brad have had this concept of a concept band called Big Muff for a while. A Big Muff is a pedal for a bass guitar.
Oh.
Right?
Is it?
Some people may think of it as, as...
other things.
Like a big hairy muff, for example. Or a big...
That wasn't the first thing that came to my mind.
But yeah, so it's funny.
Matt.
Yeah, well, 70s
Got
porn,
ya.
let's think, that kind of thing.
Ya.
But no, Big Muff's a pedal, but it's funny, isn't it, Big Muff? So we like, what's that Big Muff? And the original concept was we would start just singing songs with Big Muff with the only lyrics. Anyway, we didn't, because that's a stupid idea. But it was funny to talk about. Anyway, Brad came along, we played together as Big Muff for one night only. We'd never played together before. We just they're the songs that he plays in his band, and I learned some others to play, and we did a gig, and it was great. Really? I really enjoyed it because
it really went down a hit. Everyone, I say everyone, catch someone, wasn't Matt great,
Some people stayed from the beginning of the performance until the end, which is a good sign.
And they were quite surprised. No offence, Matt, not to say that we had low expectations of you or anything, but people genuinely were pleasantly surprised.
Well, I'm glad people enjoyed it. We enjoyed it.
I mean, let's give this a bit of a... So Matt, you've heard his voice before. Matt. He is the producer of this podcast.
And sometimes host.
And sometimes host, co-host.
Yeah, but I like to let you host.
You're are good like that.
You're like almost like a protege, because I think you're good at this kind of thing. So I think you need encouraging.
I was listening back to someone. I was like, Luca, you need to shut the fuck up.
No, but listening back to yourself is important, though.
Yeah, it is. It's helpful.
Going back to your original question about singing.
Yeah,
I think it's relatable to things like this, but about practice.
Yeah.
And I remember being on the beach on holiday with my mum and dad, and I was singing along to a song on my Walkman, and it was a tape. I think it was something like Elton John or Prefab Sprout or something like that. It was back in the day. I was quite young. And the way that when you're singing with your headphones on, you can't hear yourself properly, so you're singing all out of tune, and you're not. And plus, you're not singing to sound good. You're singing because you.
Enjoying it.
And I remember my dad saying, "Don't take up singing, will you?" Like,
did he now?
Yeah, because he's he's in like a northern dad who wants to.
I feel you.
Put you down at every opportunity. He's not like that. He's a very, very nice, wonderful man.
What's his name?
Travis.
Oh,
yeah. But
I love that.
Do you know what his mum and dad were called? You don't, because I've never told you.
Okay, go on.
But think of like the most famous couple in the whole world, the whole Western world, in the whole Christian world. A famous couple, Christian, Mary and Joseph.
Fuck off! Why did I have Princess Diana? Just all I had in my head was going, Princess Diana. I have no idea why that was. Mary and Joseph, that is amazing. And they had a Travis.
And they had Travis, yeah.
What? Where's Travis from? What's that?
I think it was just...
What's that name?
It's American, isn't it? It's more of an American name. And I think that maybe... Because my dad was born in 1952, and I don't know if they had a telly then. I can't imagine that they did have a telly then. So I don't know if they'd saw it on like a cowboy film or something like that. Or maybe it was in the film. Maybe it was in the movies or something.
Did they like watching movies?
I don't know.
Mary and Joseph.
Well, I would imagine so, because everyone used to go to the cinema back then, didn't they? But my dad's got a sister called Marlene, and they had a brother called Melvin as well. So it was Mary, Joseph, Marlene, Melvin, and Travis. Yeah. So my dad did certainly...
Cultured, that feels for me.
Marlene, Melvin. I don't know where they came from, the names, and Travis. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, but my dad did his best to steer me away from singing because it's funny, isn't it? You remember those things, those little things. Don't remember my dad ever telling me I was good at anything. He probably did. Loads of times, but you don't remember it, do you? So I remember
nobody ever encouraged. Nobody likes what I do.
And I don't know back then whether I thought I actually could sing or couldn't sing, because it was just something that you did for fun. And then I went to sixth form college in 1994, so that's 30 years ago this year, and it's also the year that Definitely Maybe was released and Park Life. And they were two massive albums for me. I got them both on vinyl. Went to college. Before that, I'd been into grunge and metal. I was really into Nirvana. But Kurt Cobain died in April 1994.
Yeah.
He kind of like, grunge died with him and everything changed, did it? And then Oasis came along just at the perfect time. And they just made you feel like, as like a normal working class lad, that you could be in a band and you could do it. It was kind of like they were really punk rock in their attitude and they pick up the guitars and do it. This is not complicated. Noel Gallagher's a great songwriter, but the rest of the band were like, I'm your brother, I'm your mate, we could just pick it up and we can just do it. And so like, there was some lads at college were like, we're starting a band, we're looking for a singer. I was like, oh, I'll do it. And like, can you sing? I don't know. Does it matter? So we went round to my mate's house and we played, I remember the first time on the acoustics, played Married with Children by Oasis, and I sang along and they were like, you're in. I was like, yes, and I don't think it was because I particularly sing, but I look the part. I look cool.
I've seen them photos of you when you were younger.
I had the look and all that. So I was like, well, we didn't want to do it to play gigs and get drunk and get girls. Like Bill the other week. It's the only reason that a 16, 17-year-old lad wants to be in a band.
Tunnel vision, you lot. Tunnel vision.
Yeah, tunnel vision. So we did it.
To be fair, as a girl, we were chasing after all the boys in the...
100%, yeah.
Well, I suppose some of us were, chasing after the boys in the things. So I don't blame you in the bands. I don't blame you.
And it were great. It were great, like being... Writing your own songs as a group, doing covers, obviously. But then, like, going out and when you got to the point where we were playing some gigs, and there was a lot of good live music venues in Oldham back then. You could do a lot of gigs and stuff.
So take us... I'd like... What I'm interested in you... What I'm interested in here with you specifically, Matt, is that you are an Oldamer and you know the stuff, you know the history. I hear a lot like, Oldham used to be really like, hip and happening, or at least there were some places to go and the nightlife was quite exciting. And then I hear that there was this change where it became almost like a dangerous place to be nightlife-wise. So you're talking about college age here, you're talking about 94, you're saying that there's some stuff happening, there's some venues, there's some like interesting live music venues. Yeah. Paint the picture of Oldham for us then.
Well, the interesting thing is like, so I went to college, I was a terrible student.
Was you?
I chose the wrong subjects.
What did you choose?
So I couldn't do, at school I wanted to do art, PE. What did I do was at A-levels and English, I think. I don't know if I wanted to do English, but I did well at English at school. I got A's in English.
Nice.
And then everything else I got C's, mainly C's. Because I couldn't be asked. I went to school to piss around with my friends and,
Were you a bit of a joker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as I hit puberty, I went from being really good and really nice and really sweet to being a dick.
Oh.
Like, I was funny, but I pushed, I
but you knew it.
I love winding people up. I love winding girls up. I love winding teachers up.
I know this person.
I used to fight with my mates all the time.
This person is still there inside you. Yeah. I can see it.
I used to love it. I was such a pain in the arse. I got this like confidence that like I didn't have before. So I never studied, and I like being the centre of attention, I suppose.
Right.
Making people laugh and doing all that kind of stuff. So school was a bit... I used to love playing football for a school team, and I played for a Sunday team, and I was pretty good. I wasn't like brilliant, but I was a good leader because I used to be aggressive.
I think in that environment, if you like those things you've described, confident, confident, basically, a man, basically. Yeah. You're a big fish in a small pond then, aren't you? And you're just loving it. It's a nice situation to be in. Like.
It's a really weird one because my school was really bad. It was crap. It was like a post-war prefab kind of building. It's called Caskham Moor, and it backed onto this council estate called Limeside, which has a bit of a reputation. And so a lot of the people who were there were from Limeside and were just, off this council estate. And then you had expectations of everything was really low. And there was... So nobody expected to go off and do anything, and the teachers didn't expect any of us to go off and do anything. And I never went and expected to go off and do anything. It was just kind of like your mum and dad were... My mum and dad were from my dad's from a very, very, like, sort of very working class, very poor background. My mum's from a sort of like slightly better off background insofar as like, her own home and heating and... things like that. Where my granddad had a good job, and it was much different,
more comfy.
Although his background was fairly modest and all that, but yeah, so like it was easy to get pulled along with the sort of like low expectation crowd at school, despite the fact that I was probably brighter, but didn't really feel particularly bright, or never knew what I wanted to do. Never had a clue.
Quite a classic thing though with the arts, I think, especially like in a working class environment, because it's not really a viable option a lot of the time as well. But if that's what you really love,
I really enjoyed drawing and like and painting and daydreaming, playing football. I just wanted to play football really and draw. That's what I sit around, like music when I got a bit older.
Did you get teased for drawing?
No.
It was a bit like that when I was at school, like it was a bit of a gender binary thing, like drawing or sports were like, they went along gender lines, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I've learned from my dad that if you get bullied, just punch them in the nose and they won't ever bully you.
I suppose that's your advantage.
They won't bully you again.
Yeah,
so that was the thing. I got on well with people because like bullies, if anyone did try to bully me, I got into quite a lot of fights at school because I wouldn't take shit off anyone, and if anyone tried it on, I'd just smack them, and then we'd have a fight. And they don't bully people. People don't bully you if they know you're going to hit them. So that's okay.
I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that.
But violence when you're younger is kind of harmless, not really, but it is in a way because you're only small. It doesn't really get very far. As soon as you get into sort of like everyone starts growing up, it's frightening.
Yeah.
And I hate violence, but like when you're younger, it's kind of. You're young animals, aren't you? Sort of like,
I think it depends. It depends whether it's like sort of deeply malicious or whether it's those like very, very reactionary things that you do as a kid,
Yeah, it's just.
But I know what you mean. As you get older,
it's just that kind of establishing that hierarchy, innit? Who can be picked on, who can't be picked on. And I would also sort of like stick up for my mates a lot as well, which would get me into trouble with people. So, I'm making myself sound like a right rogue, but
you are.
I wasn't really. But then
you moved into that sphere outside of school. Did you go to college?
With Limeside there was a lot of drugs on Limeside.
Okay.
And those drugs found their way into the school really, really easily.
Okay.
And things like pot and mainly pot and acid, really. They were the two things that came into the school. But,
wait, what? Is this a primary school? Is it secondary?
No, secondary school.
Obviously secondary.
But the thing is that, so everybody at your school, not everybody, but your mates have got big brothers and stuff, haven't they?
Yeah.
So especially hash, it found its way into the school. And when I was growing up, it was very much a sort of like just say no campaign. It was all just say no. Don't take drugs, they'll kill you. Don't touch spliffs, they'll kill you, all that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then you see your mates and your brothers smoking, and they're all fine, and it's funny, and they're having a laugh and stuff. So you think, right, so that's not true.
So you realise you're being lied to.
Yeah, so you think, give it a go. So you try these things then, and then you enjoy them, and then it all fits into this kind of like, so from school into college into a band. It all kind of like, this is great, like, and then kind of like you don't really aspire to doing very much because. Like, well, a lot of my mates, when they left school, like, were just sort of bumming around. They weren't really doing much, or they were getting crappy jobs. And I went to college, sixth form college, and everyone was just kind of, and I was just like, can't be bothered. Just want to be in a band and piss around and blah, blah, blah. And then in 1995, December 1995, I went to my first rave. And my first rave literally blew my head off. Because I'd only been into guitar music up to that point, and then I went to a rave and I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. So then I got into raving on top of that. So then like college and everything else. Rave? It was at Manchester Academy. It was a night called Megadog, and DJ Cowcock's live acts, Fluke, Spooky, who else was on?
I love that you can remember this like it was yesterday.
Oh, it was so mad. It was so good.
December 95 was when I was born.
What date?
13th.
Oh, I think it was the 17th of December I went to the academy. I'll never forget it. It totally blew my head off. It was amazing. And then that was it then. So I was really into clubbing. I was really into being in a band and singing. I was really things like football started to take a bit of a back seat because I wasn't really in any fit state come Saturday or Sunday morning to go play football. So, but you find what, like, I don't know, you find these things that are incredibly fulfilling and pleasurable and not in any way useful towards your future life.
And they're pretty they're pretty short-lived. They're these little bursts of something, aren't they? You know, that then you may or may not become addicted to those little short bursts. Yeah. And it has, you know, I've seen it happen, have quite detrimental effects on lots of, on like your future.
It does, yeah.
Did you know, would you say, like, on reflection that, you know, you would have wished that it wouldn't have been like that? You wouldn't have been. I don't know. I mean, so what happened was
I didn't finish college because I didn't do enough work and I couldn't be bothered catching up. So then I didn't go to uni. I was in the last year, I think it was, that I could have gone to uni. Like one of the last years that I could have gone to uni before tuition fees. Right. So like all my mates went to uni. I met a student who I went out with at a club in Manchester. So I hung around with loads of students all the time in Manchester. And went clubbing with them and sort of almost lived vicariously through them, I suppose.
But what were you doing, Matt?
I'm working a bit, on the dole a bit, clubbing a lot. That I was just like, I got in with a crowd of people that were older who were a bit kind of rebellious and like, fuck the system kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So, and it's all well and good until it's not well and good. Like all the people that all my mates from uni got jobs and started doing well, and they start leaving you behind and you're like, oh shit, I kind of made a bit of a balls of this really. But that's just the way it is. And then, you know, I got a job. I eventually got getting, you know, a job in like youth development and stuff like that, and working with young people and things like that. And that was all good. And I guess along this time I was still in bands and stuff. And just kept singing. I guess my voice just, because that was the original question, wasn't it? We've gone long round the houses. But yeah, it was, my voice just got better and stronger through practicing and doing it and stuff like that. And
but I mean, so I'm going to just have some reflections here. Really.
Oh, about Oldham actually as well. You were asking about Oldham as well.
Originally, it was. You know, I'm very keen to understand what the.
When I got to the age of how I was going to answer, the reason I got onto raving was because what I was going to say was that by the time I kind of got to going out age, everything that I wanted to be doing was in Manchester. I wanted to be going to where Underworld were playing where Carl Cox were DJing and
fun.
Like all that kind of stuff, and Bugged Out and Sankey's Soap and all these grimy little underground clubs like the Boardwalk and all that kind of thing. So that's where I wanted to be. Yeah. So Oldham, I would play gigs in Oldham, and I would go to some of the indie nights and stuff like that up here, but mainly I was drawn quite quickly into Manchester. Yeah. And I used to go to Manchester like in my early teens to buy records and stuff like that. Go to the Northern Quarter and go to Vinyl Exchange and things like that and pick up records and stuff. So having Manchester on my doorstep was always, for me, was brilliant. I loved it more than Oldham. Oldham was a bit more of your cheesy nights and stuff like that. You know, there was and bars and stuff like that. And then, like you said, it got a bit rough.
Yeah,
You're more likely to get bottled or now. People that wanted trouble found trouble in Oldham, but rather than I never had any trouble in Oldham.
Loads of it became to the point where there'd be a lot of bouncers around and a lot of like security.
Well, they closed Yorkshire Street at one point on the evening, so and they'd have a big mobile first aid unit at one end to deal with. To deal with the casualties of the night, so like drunken casualties as well as people, people who fell over, as well as people who got into fights and stuff like that. So it did get a bit Wild West, and then it went from one extreme to the other.
And then it just died a death.
Yeah, and then it just died a death. But then, like you say, you've got Manchester right on your doorstep.
And I think that relationship between Manchester and Oldham and Manchester and many outskirts towns, could be strengthened by each of them being, having something separate, different to offer.
Yeah. KUPOD is Oldham's only professional podcast production company. This year we produced a variety of shows with Northern Roots Oldham, Oldham Community Radio and fantastic local charity Little Ladylocks. We've helped local businesses like NB Dog Training, 1853 Studios and Billington's produce their very own podcasts. Be sound with KUPOD. Visit KUPOD.co.uk.
But it's interesting. So it seemed to me like, you were chasing a bit of a high Matt. You were chasing a bit of a high.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You got a feel for it and you went for it. And I think you strike me as well as someone who is quite slow growing up.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
You know, you're a slow, like when I first met you, I was very surprised at how old you are. Like, I assumed you were at least 15 years younger than you are. Like, because it's quite striking how like youthful you are in the way that
how immature you are.
Maybe it's that. I didn't want to say it, but there is a bit of that. And I think it's interesting, like, and then it was kind of like that with Bill as well, wasn't it? How like, there's this youthfulness around being creative and stuff and all of those things that you fall into and chasing those like little highs and the ways in which you express yourself. But like you said that you got into music quite easily and it was just like a natural progression. You just started doing it. But was there like a earlier on, like, you were singing on the beach and you liked the sound of that, but like, was it literally just for girls and just for that? Or was it like, you listen to a lot of music and there's all these different genres and everything like that. Yeah. Like, was it something that, came from anywhere else? I
mean, I when I was at primary school, I played the tenor horn in music lessons.
I played the trombone.
Can you still taste that? The brass taste in your mouth? And smell
what's worse?
The tubes and that.
The bit where you like release the spit.
Yeah.
That's rank, isn't it?
Yeah. But so I was playing. I did that. I remember we did some concerts at like the Queen Elizabeth Hall and stuff. All I remember is like never really being able to grasp it fully, never been able to concentrate fully, and then being sat in there and like not knowing what I was doing. Like one of those dreams. Like, I still have those dreams, like where I pull on a England shirt or whatever, or I go on the stage in Glastonbury and I'm like there with a guitar or a bass or something.
And you don't know what to do.
Know what I'm doing.
Oh my God, I have those dreams. I have those dreams, but mine are always around, I'm going on stage for a show, like a play, and I forgot my lines, and I don't know any of my lines. But I know before I'm about to go on that I don't know my lines, and I just can't find a way out.
Yeah, exactly.
How interesting is that?
So
what's that about? Weird.
I don't know exactly. It's some kind of imposter syndrome or some kind of insecurity or whatever. I think. But
imposter syndrome.
And also about maybe like about not quite having lived up to what you would like to have done. But being in the brass band at school was like that for real. What was I supposed to be doing? I just won't play that bit. I'm playing something wrong or whatever, that. I mean, but it's kids playing at the minute. It probably sounds bloody awful anyway, so it don't matter. But that was it as far as music was concerned. I always liked pop music when I was a kid. We grew up in the 80s, so you're blessed because pop music was actually good then.
Yeah.
And then you get into proper music. Proper music was about 12. I started getting into that was 1990, so that was like good pop music, James and Happy Mondays and things like that were in the charts and stuff. So, but then you got like music, and then like then it's like, well, which drugs match the music? That's how certain people sort of grow with music, and so like whether it's clubbing or whether it's sitting in a smoky room listening to Pink Floyd or whatever, like that's kind of like the journey you go on. So I think then, once I got into singing, I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed that kind of the performance element of it. I like having a microphone.
And as you said, you like being centre of attention.
So like being centre of attention. Yeah.
We couldn't get you off actually.
I was having a great time.
I was like saying to Dylan, go and mess around with them with your DJ gear.
Yeah.
Give him a bit of an indication.
I lost track of time.
No, it was really nice to see though. It really was.
Yeah.
Like you obviously love it. You obviously love it.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
But then, so what happened with the drawing? Did you ever return to that?
You know what really annoys me is I finished college, and then when I went back to find all my work, I couldn't find it, and I had all these drawings that I'd done. And it had all gone missing. And
I suppose they get left loads of shit.
Really, because it was not even long after when I went looking for it, it had all disappeared. And I'd done all these drawings, and they were really good. And I wish I had them. So it kind of like that was kind of like the end of it, really. I do a bit every now and again. I'll pick up pencil or something and do a drawing. And
why?
I used to enjoy it. It was one of those meditative things. I used to like cutting stuff out. I used to like making little beads out of stuff. I'd sit in my bedroom, listen to music, and just like draw or do stuff meditatively. That kind of stuff would have been the healthier version of
gaming, scrolling.
No, like getting stoned. I think it kind of evolved into kind of like, from doing something that kind of. I don't know, that kind of focus and that kind of escapism that you have from stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get into too sort of like psychoanalyze myself as to why you do stuff, but
I'm leaving space for you here because I think I do.
I don't know. I like you know, like that kind of way that you. I don't know, space with yourself, finding connection. That's what I used to love about clubbing. Was finding a connection with a load of people in a room.
It is really special.
I used to go to this place called the Phoenix, and it was on Oxford Road, and used to have a night called Havoc, and it was an acid techno night. It was absolutely banging, and everyone in there was mental, because you'd have to be, because the music was like all night long.
Oh, I love that.
But by the end of the night, it was by 4 a.m, the roof would be coming off, the sweat would be dripping off the ceiling. The place, it's only small. It was brilliant, and it was just the euphoria in the place, the energy. It was never any trouble, even though it was full of wrong uns and that. Like, but it was so good. And you come away, and it would just be like such an incredible high.
Yeah.
And then you're on and nothing can ever match it. Nothing can ever meet. Nothing can ever kind of live up to that. So like every time you went out, you always, whatever you were doing, that's what you wanted. You wanted it to be 3 o'clock in the morning in that club, surrounded by people that you kind of knew, but who became your mates. Because it was every 2 weeks, and you go back there and you do something else in between and that, and you go to gigs and you do this. That was it was kind of, I guess it was kind of like the first time you ever took heroin or something. You always wanted to chase that, and it was like that was like the clubbing equivalent of it, or not just the clubbing equivalent, but like the life equivalent. Really, there's nothing beat that.
But like you began talking about it being connection, and this idea of connecting, like either when you're doing it on your own, like, you know, drawing or I don't know, rolling beads, whatever it was, that connection with yourself. But in that situation, it was connection with others.
Yeah.
Like, and you seem as an individual very driven by that in everything that you do. Like, I would say that. Like, you come in here, the first time you came here and you discovered the studios and stuff, it was like you lit up. You were like, oh, there's so much going on here. And all you wanted to do, and the only reason we're sat here today and the only reason this exists is because of you, wanting to bring people together and find a connection and try and be like, oh, there's this thing happening and there's this person, and they're like trying to like make that visible or experience that in some way, or bring something or create something together in that connection. I suppose that's just my 2 pence.
No, yeah, I think quite early on, like if you have sort of psychedelic experiences and stuff like that, I think that's why so many cultures have psychedelics at the heart of their coming of age. Because when you have a psychedelic experience, it doesn't matter what age you are, but mine was quite young, you realise that most of this is a load of bollocks. It's fucking nonsense, like the world we live in. And like the world that you've, the crap school you've been to.
Yeah.
You're just like, well, you're cannon fodder, either cannon fodder or factory fodder. Like, and that's your life. Or, you know, you're going to rebel against that. You're going to commit crimes. You're going to end up in prison. So like, these are the options that you have, really, unless you're really, really clever or really insightful or really entrepreneurial or whatever it is. And so like, I guess I just kind of like just realised it was all a load of bollocks really early on. And like...
So you decided almost like
I kind of just rebelled. Yeah, I kind of rebelled against it really, I suppose, and just valued spending time with my friends or enjoying music
or something that got close,
something that made me feel part of something that was a lot more real and okay. And so I got addicted to that kind of that feeling. Or also being like, you know, like being in front of an audience and performing feels like it has some kind of real value, even if it's only for an hour or whatever. Yeah. You know, like you feel a connection with people and your band and all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of what I strive towards. And that's why, like, money and stuff, it just, I can't even get myself remotely motivated for it. I don't care. And it's ridiculous because you need it.
Wonder.
I know, you know, but it's just, it's not... But at the same time, so like it's a contradiction. You know you need to work for it. You know you need to, but then you just want to just opt out and just say, well, what's the point? It's all bollocks. So
it's such a refreshing thing to realise, and for you to have realised it so young, like it kind of fucks you in this society, like for sure, but also maybe that opens you up to a completely new like way of existing. Like, because
it didn't really help me because I didn't think, right, okay, I wasn't smart enough to think, right, okay, but you still need to like you know. So, but let's just say that for all the highs and all that, there is a period of recovery. So let's just say that like I'm now, you know, a lot more sort of balanced and like productive than I used to be. But I wouldn't change all that experience because it is what I am.
I think
it's what I've done.
Honestly feel
and
like
I learned a lot and I've grown a lot from it.
Yeah.
But it's not been easy to go. Like I've made bad decisions, and I've had to, and also my temperament and my, you know, I couldn't really cope with it physically or mentally. Yeah. Some people have an amazing constitution, and they're able to deal with things, whereas I couldn't, and so but I didn't realise that for a long time. So I was like,
What was the point where you realised maybe you needed to change your approach to life?
Probably. Well, we went to the Euros in 2016 in France, and we were on the biggest session you've ever. I mean, it was big, it was heavy, and I came back going, I can't do that anymore. And it was like by that stage, it was like infrequent, but
that almost makes it worse.
Yeah, because you kind of get out of the habit of it, but like. Yeah. You know, partying's great, but it's like it does sort of leave its mark on you. And I wouldn't discourage people from doing it, but I wouldn't encourage them to do it too much. But it's kind of the way that, you know, we're always at this. I mean, you have to. Life's about compromise, isn't it? But I feel like we have to compromise too much, and I feel like the things that we crave. Our connection, you know, environment, you know, being in the right environment. We are so like out of our comfort zone as a species. Like the way we live. The way we live is just not how we're supposed to live at all. And like I think a lot of people's anxiety and depression and all that kind of stuff stems from them being uncomfortable in their own skin, in their own communities, because we're not supposed to live like this.
Struggling to find that connection, like what you said, and not being able to find it, I think a lot of the time, or understanding how you're meant to live, or feeling a level of fulfillment that I think we need to feel in order to be happy in our own skin and stuff like that. I think it's so much harder to feel that sense of fulfillment when, like you say, the kind of jobs that you're in are you can't see the end product. You're just a piece in a larger puzzle that you can't see the edges of. Yeah. That I think it does something to your psyche, and you're not able to feel any satisfaction. I think we need satisfaction. We need to see a puzzle through and have it done, or something like that, and or create quite often.
But connection is like everything. So like if you were growing your own vegetables and you were tending to your family, and you were out hunting, or you were doing whatever it is that you feel connection. You're connected to, like,
the project,
everything if you're just sitting around a fire with your friends and family, you're connected in that way. If you're telling a story, or if you're listening to a story, or if you're drawing, or if you're creating some you know, I'm going back to, like, you know, sort of pre-civilization, where, like, you know, you're like drawing on a cave wall or something. You're connected. Like, it's all about, everything's about stories and telling a story, listening to a story, listening to the stories that are in nature and all. Like we are so, like, I guess once you realise how disconnected we are from the kind of lives that we are, what's the word? Evolutionarily. So like, all this sort of, like, the world we live in now is only a few hundred years old. Prior to that, like, our species has been evolving for like hundreds of thousands of years to live a certain way and to be a certain way, and it just, I think once you're into that routine the capitalist state that we live in has conditioned everybody really, really well to be, once you kind of see things differently, and I think as people that are artists and creatives, you're always trying to connect that, you want to try and connect. I think that's what makes us creative people is that we're trying to connect back to that. We're trying to connect to that connection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think
we're trying to connect back
there.
to something that is just
We're trying to keep that little spark alive.
Yeah.
That, I mean, some people seem to have transitioned really easily, or some people just seem fine with it. Do you know what I mean? And then there are people that seem to get left behind that just can't click into it. You know, I remember having a conversation with someone last week about this idea of like, I don't want to work. Like, I can't. Like, you know, things like that. You know, she was saying like, you know, it's just not something that I think I can do.
You're lazy.
Yeah, but she's not. She's so unbelievably creative, but it's just being able to find, like, just society doesn't merit it in a financial sort of setting. Like, you're trying to monetize something that essentially can't be monetized, and that's just a decision. That's an arbitrary decision of capitalism. Well, it's not arbitrary. It's long path led to that, but ultimately then what happens to those that are sort of left behind? They're kind of searching for this connection or something, or not able to quite explain what it is that they're trying to do, or what's going to make them feel fulfilled in their life. And there's no place for it. It's a struggle because there isn't a place for it, because you need to make some money and it's not something that makes money, you know, so it's very, very hard to fit it into the framework of capitalism and still feel like it's connected. Because then also you have this other side where some people do manage to fit whatever it might be creative-wise into this capitalist framework, but then it kills that spark because you don't have that connection in the same way. You're doing it for a completely different purpose. You're doing it so that it'll sell, or so that you can make money. So then you're losing that innate...
Which is doing it for the sake of doing it.
With yourself, or others, really, like, interesting, like... You know, I could talk about this for ages.
I know. It drives me mad because, I mean, it's such a big topic, but like we're designed to live in like relatively small groups. You know, like
I'm taking your word for this.
Tribe,
I mean, I
you know,
kind
like
of
tribes. You know, like, and we'd live in our little area. We'd all have our role within that. And some people's role would be to entertain. You'd have your entertainers, and you know, we'd all find like your role that you were,
your skills,
that you were good for.
Good at.
They're not going to send out like someone who's hopeless at hunting to hunt. Because, for example, I'm not taking it back to a very... And people are saying, well, do we want to live like that? Or do we, you know, so it's kind of like finding a balance between, you know, we're never going to go back unless there's a complete apocalypse and we're forced to go back. But, so it's all these things, but it's about finding the space to be able to, like, make your own decision on what it is that you want to do when you can't... Without money, you can't eat. Without money, you can't live somewhere. You're forced into it. And, like... I'm quite lucky because I have a supportive family, but like, and people that you know, like when I moved back from Ireland, because I lived in Ireland for 10 years and after my marriage, like, you know, ended after COVID and stuff, you know, and I was able to come back and move in with my parents and have that support and stuff. And when you've been away for a long time, it's nice to spend time. I thought I'd be back home for like 2 minutes, but that wasn't the case at all. And because like really, you're actually designed to live with your family and support your family. My parents are getting older now. I want to look after them when they're old.
Well, there has to be that shift, doesn't there? They're literally... Well, they've created the society has created a situation where, you know, care in your older years is impossible on your own anyway. So we have to move back into that role of care.
Well, it's commodified now, isn't it? You have to, you know, you pay to look, you know, people pay... You know, you have to pay to put people in homes and stuff like that. And so, like, we especially Western society is just capitalist society. And it's led by America. America is the capitalist leader. And I think there was after World War II, America was in possession of, like, more than 50% of the world's wealth. 50%, it controlled over 50% of the world's wealth. So everything post-war has been about maintaining American control of finance and it is what it is. It's just a machine. You go to America, everything's about money. Everything. They want to just get money out of you for everything. And it's horrendous. So like when you realise that it's just all bollocks from an early age, it's hard to motivate yourself. And so like I guess like now that since I started my podcast about the Latics, so football's still important to me. But football's about connection to me. Rather than anything else, because it connects me to my people in my town.
I like football for that as well.
It connects me to my the people that I go to the games with. It connects me to my family. There's a lot of, and you know, playing football is about connection as well. Like.
Yeah.
So that became successful, and then I realised that this was what I wanted to do. I wanted to help people connect through stories and through podcasting and telling their stories. And it's kind of like, I feel like podcasting is the antidote to social media, where people are in inverted commas connecting, but they're not really, because it's only a very, very limited. It's very limited what you can say to each other on social media. And if you want to get into a debate on something or a topic on something, you've got two sides that have got firing over, limited, trying to get one up on each other and never getting anywhere. So, like, you know, actual conversation and taking time and looking into things properly and engaging with somebody that you disagree with face to face and having a conversation, you will get a lot further than if you try doing it on social media. So I just deleted my X account, my personal X account, because I was just getting, especially over the election, getting into arguments with people, people who were supporters of the football of Oldham Athletic like me, but had different political views. We're just arguing, and you're never going to. No, you know, it's never going to get anywhere. They're not going to convince me, and I'm not going to convince them over Twitter. Yeah. And Elon Musk has just taken Twitter into it's a shit show. It's a horrible place. So I just thought, no, I can't be doing with that. You're only going to get somewhere if you sit down and talk to people and find out what you've got in common and take it from there.
I am curious about, like, it feels like we've really worked you out, man. But like this Ireland thing, like, did you decide to start podcasting when you came back from Ireland?
Yeah, because the football podcast had kept me in the loop, and it had got me quite well known in Oldham and involved in the campaign to save the club from the previous owners, and we did a lot of good with it, and it made me kind of like realise that. Again, so there was like, by helping people do things like use these things for good. You can, I mean, this podcast is, you know, about the artists, and it's about the creatives, and it's about whatever we want to talk about. Yeah, I want people to pick up a microphone and communicate and find their audience and do something good with it. Yeah, do something positive with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, change the world one little bit at a time. You know, I get frustrated at the world because it's. You know, it feels like it's out of control and there's nothing you can do. The reason I started my football podcast was in 2016. Do you remember David Bowie died in 2016? And then, because he was holding the universe together, right? He really was. Because everything went to shit after that. As soon as Bowie died in January 2016, we had Brexit, Donald Trump.
Oh my God, you're right.
Right? Yeah, it totally happened. Then Prince died, right? So that was like, oh my God.
And everyone was like, everyone's dying.
Like, all the you know, people that were like... I mean, Bowie and Prince were like a genius level musicians, incredible, like, cultural icons and everything. But like, then we had Trump and Brexit. I was like, for fuck's sake, you can see where this is all going. 2017, we had the arena bomb in Manchester. I was in Ireland. That broke my heart. That did absolutely broke my heart. And then, because like my town being. You know, I'm an Oldhamer, I'm a proud Oldhamer, but I've always said Oldham's my town and Manchester's my city. And like, you know, Manchester getting attacked and bombed felt incredibly personal to me over there. And then there was all these other, you know, things just seemed to be going chaotic. But in 2018, this guy took over our football club, and he was, you know, him and his brother, I think they were, one night they were having they were from Morocco, so they were presuming they were smoking some hash or something. And they came up with the idea that it'd be a really good idea to buy a football club. And because they were because they were football agents, they could like bring through these talented players and sell them on at huge profits. And, you know, anyway, they couldn't spot talent if it came up to them and smacked them on the arse. And it failed, and it went really, really badly, really, really quickly. So I was kind of like, right, well, I can't do anything about global terrorism. I can't do anything about Brexit. I can't do anything about, you know, some bloody white supremacists taking over in the White House. But I can do something about my football club being taken over by idiots. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start this podcast, and we're going to... Because there's nobody in the media, local media or national media or whatever, really talking about the issues. There used to be a podcast about Oldham Athletic, but they didn't talk about it. They were just kind of talking about all this stuff, was making light of everything. Right. I was like, what are you doing? There's like, you know, it's like the elephant in the room. So I was like, so I started a podcast, and we really got into it, and it, you know, fans really responded to it, because it's like, finally we're talking about the real issues and like what we're going to do about it. And, you know, we got rid of them and we got new owners and things are much better now. And so it made me realise that was possible through podcasting. And it's not about, you know, like it's hard to make money out of podcasting, but that's not really the point. That's not really the issue. Because it's not the point is, I always say there's 4 Ps. Passion. What's your passion? Like, what do you want to talk about? What is there? What have you got enough fire about in your belly that you can talk about it for hours and hours and hours and consistently doing it over and over again? Like, what's the purpose of it? Like, why? You know, is it because you want to change the world? Is it because you want to share your passion for somebody else's work, for your own work, whatever it is, whatever cause it is? But there has to be a purpose. Production. You need to know how to produce it, and that can either be in a reason, quite a professional setup like this, or you can do it at home, and then you've got to promote it. Like they're my 4 Ps of podcasting. But really, it starts with the first P, passion.
Yeah,
you know, you've got to,
and that has to be there the whole time. Otherwise, the rest of it crumbles.
Exactly. And if you've got an audience of whatever it is, you've got an audience of 50 people and they listen all the time and you get them on board with whatever it is.
That's success, isn't it?
Exactly. That's what it's all about. Whether you're doing it from home or whether you're doing it, you've got a bigger purpose. But it has to be authentic. It has to be, if you're doing it for the right reasons, your intentions are right, then you'll find your audience and you'll connect with them as long as you're consistent and you promote it properly and you get out there and you keep doing it. Yeah. And it's the one thing, this is the one thing, if I'm going to be totally honest, that I've stuck at, that I've enjoyed enough and been passionate enough about to actually keep wanting to doing it. I've done it with music, but it's never been a living. You know, it's always been something I've done for a laugh or because I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Nothing else has stuck with me. And I think that what you said before about growing up late, you know, the characters that... I think I would have been good if I'd have been born a bit earlier. You know, like when you watch I love old films, like the old black and white films and people like Jimmy Stewart and Humphrey Bogart and people like that, those kind of old... The main characters in those films were always older men. So you had older men and younger women. Yeah. You know, like, so that, and they mature. So like up until the sort of like around the early 40s mark, they'd just be a cad. They'd be womanizing, they'd be drinking, they'd be like, you know, and then at some points they'd meet some woman who was, you know, about 15, 20 years younger than they were. And the arc of the narrative of the film would be that, you know, they kind of grow up. Yeah. But it was always a lot later. Yeah. It was always around that 40 year, you know, and I kind of noticed that, and I kind of like use that as a source of inspiration, not to worry too much. Be all right. Once it gets to about 40, I'll probably sort myself out, because that seems to be a thing in the films. Like they tell you, like, you know, like you'll sort of like mellow out and sort of, you know. And I think it is. I think it's a bit about that. You do sort of mellow out as you get a bit older. You're not sort of chasing the highs all the time. You can't cope with the lows like you used to be able to. And it's interesting when you get to sort of like middle age. You see people like they either, especially in our culture, especially with alcohol, you get to a point where you're either slow down massively, or you've got a problem. And your problem might not be that you speed up, but that you are alcohol dependent and that you drink a lot. Yeah. You can't handle social circumstances without drinking and things like that. And you notice that. And it's like, I think for me, it's kind of like, that's kind of like maybe an indicator or like a barometer of like, how comfortable are you with yourself by the time you get to that point? And if you're able to sort of like be comfortable with who you are and be sober and be you know, go into a room. I'm a lot more comfortable now than I ever was going into a room full of people. I'm not overthinking like, oh shit, what am I going to say? What are people going to think of me? What are people going to judge me? Like all that internal narrative that I used to have in my head when I was younger. I think that's partly why I used to do things like drink and, you know, take things to sort of quieten that internal dialogue down. So I think when you get to middle age, like if you know, when people start to calm down with things like alcohol and stuff, it's because they're comfortable with who they are, and they'll go into a room and they'll talk and they'll, you know, blah blah. And if you're not, you're probably going to be a lot more nervous and feel that you're being judged. And this is the first time in my life where I've been able to go into a room and tell people what I do. I'm a podcast producer and I'm proud of it and I'm enjoying it. I think like,
and you are so good at it, like as well. I'll feed you that because you are really good at it.
It brings together a lot of the things that I like the sound design stuff. You know, like when we were doing the music, the theme tune.
That was fun. Yeah.
I like doing that with people. I like people who, like yourself and Rachel, right, I've got this idea, let's do it. Like my mate Dave, who I do the football phone-in with, Sexy Dave is called, Sexy Dave Bradley. I come up with these ideas and say, right, come on, Dave, we're going to do it. He's like, yeah, okay. And we do it. And he's like, you mad, you? I was like, I know, but it's funny, innit? Don't overthink it. If it makes you laugh and you think it's a good idea, do it. Do it then. Record it. Get some music on. You saw how fast I worked when I was doing it. It was like, boom, 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 right, we're going to do that.
It was.
Boom. Put it out. Don't overthink it. It's like, it's either going to work or it's not going to work. But if I feel like, if my gut tells me it's a good idea, it's going to work, then 9 times out of 10 it will be.
I feel like you're in this sweet spot at the minute then, Matt, in your life, where you're like, you've managed to mature enough so that you're not as bothered about anything, but you're still very, very immature to the point where you've got fantastic, silly ideas.
Yeah.
So you're in this nice little sweet spot now, aren't you, really?
Yeah.
Like, it's an exciting prospect.
It is, and it's the one thing that the old movies were right. The old movies were right. You know, like, so if you're a man listening to this and you're in your late 20s or 30s or something, and you're worrying about how immature you are and how you haven't grown up and found it, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's normal. Like, you're not supposed to have grown up by the time. You remember when we were talking to Bill the other week, and he was talking about having a kid at 18, moving out, and all that, and imagine how immature Bill. I mean, look at Bill now.
But he's sort of done the opposite. He did the serious stuff before.
I know, but
and
imagine how immature Bill must have been when he was 18.
God,
you know, like, and expecting people to grow up
fast.
and change. Basically, you're not a child anymore. You are.
I do have to say, Matt, there's a massive part of my feminist brain going like, well, yeah, you can do it. You can stay immature for ages. And I think it is interesting because now you mention about them movies.
Those films, I mean, they're so misogynistic, it's ridiculous.
You are so right, because it is the man that is able to be that way for as long as possible. And I mean, I'm trying to understand, and I understand so much of it, but you know, it's got to be mentioned, otherwise I wouldn't be that. I can't actually, I can't kind of feel what you've experienced. You know, I can't. What's that word?
Empathise.
I can't empathise to a certain degree. I can certainly empathise with that feeling of, like, you know, feeling like you're left behind a little bit with what you enjoy and whether it's being valued and things feeling stupid. But that, you know, ability to just be like, it'll work itself out, or I can stay immature, is hard to empathise with. I think I'd kick myself if I didn't say it. But I think it's just interesting, isn't it? Because I think there are a lot of cases of it. And I think men now are starting to understand that there's a privilege there, and that's just, you know, and women are starting to understand that, you know, that was also there, and taking that rightful space to say, actually, you know, it's my turn now. Do you know what I mean? I think that's interesting.
I'd like it if we could all just be like, you know,
it would be great.
You're not under any pressure to grow up, whatever that means. You're not under any pressure to fit a certain mould or be a certain thing. You're not under any pressure to do. Just be yourself. You know, that's what I loved about going clubbing as well. Go to a club, because, you know, like I said, Oldham was a bit Wild West. Go to a club, all different types of people, being friendly. Everyone was really like, you know, that I enjoy that environment. Like, I've always been like that. And I can appreciate that. And I can also appreciate that for men, like, I can't empathise, like I say, but I think men get dealt a hand of seriousness a lot. You know, and as do women, but different types of pressures that are on the shoulders of men. And I think it's interesting that, you know, you were saying all that stuff in the back of your mind and the expectation, stuff like that. I think expectation for men has always been really high, you know, and I think that's an interesting dynamic that you kind of like, oh, you know, I just want to connect. It is, but like, without women holding them up in the background,
absolutely,
emotionally, and like taking responsibility for things and making sure things are getting done, and all that kind of stuff. I like to think I'm fortunate in that I don't hold misogynistic views or judge people. I really try to take everybody as they are and who they are, and not judge. Now, I posted something on TikTok, actually. KUPOD UK is my TikTok account, and it was about racism and stuff because of everything that was going on with reform and all that.
Yeah.
And it's got like it's going on towards 500,000 views now.
Yeah,
it's
got a good video that I watched.
And it was about saying about like you absorb other institutional bias and opinions and things like that. And you do, as a man, you do about women.
Yeah.
You do about race, and you have intrusive thoughts that come into your mind all the time. You judge people all the time, and you have a split second in your mind go, is that me? Or is that something I've learned? Yeah. Is that something that I've heard? Is that something that I've read? Is that something that's been repeated to me over and over again? Then you have the choice then to let that go, and that's your critical thinking, and that's what's important. And Judd, I mean, I've had all those thoughts like about. Have you seen that Harry Enfield and Chums sketch?
Probably.
Women, know your limits.
Yeah.
They're so funny, because they are satire. They're not supposed to be, but it's a piss take of the level of misogyny and just pure like what's the right word? I don't know. Humiliation of women, really, in public life, in films, in advertisements and stuff like that. Like. They're really well done. They're really, really well done because it really hits home just how...
Humour is really important with getting stuff like that across.
And it is. I mean, some of those clips, like, people watch them like, oh my God, how did they get away with this? It's like, you're missing the point. Like, it's not supposed to be offensive to women now. It's supposed to be a comment on just how belittled women were in society.
Absolutely laughable.
It's like when she speaks up at the dinner party and they're like... He gets the coat and leaves because his wife's had an opinion at the dinner. You're supposed to be talking about kittens and smiling and looking pretty and all that kind of stuff. So,
no, I think it's good to hear you say though, like on that video especially, like we, to admit,
don't be afraid.
We do have those things. We live in a society where we are constantly fed without our knowledge. These biases, like you say, and I think it's really good, and I think it's important for men and women to accept that. We will have those, and it's really, really important as a first step to be like, I recognise that within myself, and how do we move forward? I think that's really, really interesting.
I think the biggest thing that any of us can do right now is to really, really think about how conditioned we are. Yeah. Like, how conditioned are you? And like we started speaking about things like capitalism and like this is all bollocks. We're all incredibly conditioned.
We know nothing else, really.
No,
well, we don't.
And so to try and strip away those layers and understand who we really are, that's the meaning of life, really. That's what it's about. Like you can't
the meaning of life.
Like, who are you? Understanding who you are is there's not really any other purpose, really. Because once you understand who you are, you can use that in the right way. You can use that to impact other people's lives, impact the community around you, and you can feel content with who you are. So like you have that's really the point. So stripping away all these notions and all these things that have been, we are hugely conditioned. The best thing that I ever did one of them was in 2013 stopped getting TV getting a terrestrial TV. Just stopped watching telly. And that was, streaming services were kind of coming in around that time anyway, so you could pick and choose, but I can't listen.
Is it the ads?
I can't be doing with ads. I cannot be doing with them. And also you get in, you put the telly on, you sit there and you scroll through things, flicking adverts, some shit program, It's a waste of time, but you got conditioned. You condition yourself to get in, put the telly on and do it. You sit there. Yeah. Now we've got phones, so we do the same thing on our phones. So that's the next thing you have to break yourself away from that. But it's just this kind of like constant like engagement of like your brain in nothing and just sitting there. Commercial radio, adverts in podcasts. I shouldn't be saying it because it's I need to get revenue streams from somewhere. But like it's just not. I don't want to be constantly in that like mold of like being sold to. It's because it's all seasonal, isn't it? It's this time of year you should be buying a holiday. It's this time of year it's nearly Christmas. It's this time of year you should be doing this back to school. People just get into these cycles like that. So like unplugging from watching telly was brill, like really, really good. And then like choosing to watch things that on demand. And I guess I've got quite a serious mind as well. I like, if I'm going to watch something or invest in something, I like it to be about quite serious things, like things that I'm going to learn from, rather than just... I like there's room for entertainment as well, obviously.
What are you watching at the minute?
I like fantasy stuff. If I like getting into the kind of like I enjoy Game of Thrones and I enjoy things like that. But I'm listening to some books and stuff at the minute, like about politics. And I'm starting to get into. You get older, I think it's like, well, where's your mind at? What matters, and what do I need to learn, and what do I need to unlearn, which is the most important thing.
Well, you're growing up now, Matt.
I know. I don't know how I'm going to cope. You know how I'm going to cope?
I think you'll be just fine.
I'm going to, like, play silly music and piss around.
I love it. We're so here for it.
Yeah. So there you go.
Now?
We've been recording for just over an hour.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Flies by, doesn't it?
God.
So I don't know. So my name's Matt, and I'm a podcast producer. I sometimes sing a bit. And
Let's hope they got this far.
And that's what I do. Yeah. I'm not quite sure. I don't know how much of that we talk. I don't know. I feel like I've been in a bit of a daze for the last hour.
I like that.
But
I like
that's
that
good though.
Yeah, I feel like I really, really know you so much more, Matt. I was really looking forward to this for that reason.
No, it's been good. Yeah. And you're a good interviewer and host. Yeah.
Oh, God. Be careful. I'll be giving you a run for your money.
I'm gonna edit this to make you sound even better. Obviously. I do that every week. Have you ever noticed how good you sound?
No, because I think I sound terrible.
I'm joking. I don't like to over edit things. I like keep them as they are. No, but things like you laughing is it's good.
Oh, it's forever.
It's great though.
It's so
it
I
lifts,
do apologise, everyone, if you're listening.
It lifts the podcast. Like you need to have it. Like because sometimes you can go down rabbit holes and you can do that, don't you? And things, and just
I was talking to someone the other day though, and they were like saying about listening to podcasts, and I recommended this one and whatever, and I was like, we chat about everything really, and people come up with these stories, and it's amazing, and then it's just like me laughing, and they were like, you know what, actually I really love in the background just hearing someone laugh is really quite comforting. So I was like, okay, well this is the one for you then, because I'm just laughing all the time through it. So that's nice. Thanks, Matt.
So,
right, well we better wrap this up, Matt. I'll be Rachel.
Okay.
Matt.
Yeah.
Are you Matthew or are you Matt?
Matt, really.
Matt.
I don't mind. My mates used to call me Deanie. That was stuck for ages. That stuck for ages. But that was when I was like, I've grown up since I'm Matt or Matthew now, which is more mature.
You wear it well.
Mm-hmm.
What are you having for your tea?
I think I'm going to get either lamb or chicken or naan at the that grill place, that's gourmet steak grill place around the corner.
Oh yeah.
Not really your bag, is it?
Not really. Not gonna lie.
But they do some nice food there, so I'm gonna get something from there.
Why did you say you're staying here for a bit?
Yeah, Sexy Dave's coming later.
Yeah,
so
you did say that. I missed that.
We're speaking to a former Latics legend on our phone tonight. Gunnar Halle. He's a Norwegian footballer from the early 90s.
Oh my God, so cool.
Yeah.
Wow, we're phoning.
Yeah.
That's well exciting.
I know. Yeah, we do it on YouTube on a Wednesday night, talk about the football.
What's it, mate?
Yeah, it's good. What are you having?
You know, I actually don't know.
Again.
That's
on a
so
Wednesday,
bad, isn't it?
you need to plan your meals on a Wednesday.
You catch me, it's because I get home like a little bit later and it just throws me off. I don't know, like it's not that late, but it just throws me off. And I think, I don't know what I'm doing. So I've been moving house, so everything's everywhere.
Yeah.
Just got a new TV put in, so I'm probably going to have something shit.
Don't watch it.
Watch the TV. No, I'm going to watch, I'm really into some period dramas.
What are you watching?
It's a period drama. This one's The Serpent Queen on Prime.
Right.
I love it. I love period dramas. That's just something you need to know about me.
Right. Is it the fashion and the whole look of it and the aesthetics?
It's the fashion, the aesthetics. It's like it's the buildings. It's like imagining the life. If they do it as raw as they can, the better. I want to understand how they went to the loo. I want to understand what it was like as a woman, all that weird shit.
Yeah.
And then also the way that the dynamic is, like sometimes how they converse. I just find it really interesting. You know how like they'd hold back quite a lot with communication and stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's like the opposite of me and I find it really interesting and calming.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something about it I just find really interesting.
Yeah. What's your favourite period for this kind of thing?
Probably, I want to say... late medieval, so like 1400, 1500, 1600. But all up until like I kind of get a bit bored when it gets to like when electricity comes in. I kind of get a bit bored then, but up until then, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
I like it. Things have to be right. They have to remember that everybody's teeth would have either been rotten or falling out.
I do appreciate it when they do it proper.
Stink of shit and look horrendous. Like
they
that.
They
need to get it right. It's
but
like,
even shit ones like Bridgerton though, I can be there for.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Just pop them in a big dress and I'm here. So you learned something about me today, as I learned a lot about you.
Okay, well, it's been a pleasure.
Yes, indeed it has.